Thriving in a changing world, a lesson from history. Yeah, I would say that business is not war, but it can sometimes teach us organizational lessons. Alexander of Macedon was a model of an authoritarian kingly leadership of his times. He's known as the Great because of his exploits of the army he inherited from his father and that he honed to perfection. The core was the phalanx, a long battle line of large blocks of heavily armored pikemen, at least 16 ranks deep, each carrying a 7-meter long pike and shield. The front 5 ranks held the pike horizontal, forming a dense wall of spears frontally. It was a masterpiece of centralized control and disciplined process science. Each soldier knew to keep their place, to just follow orders, and to only look forward. It was slow to deploy and engage, rigid and ponderous, but frontally on flat ground in the large set-piece battles that predominated at the time, it was unstoppable. It became the engagement model for nations for 200 plus years, carrying all before it. Then things changed. Technology and geopolitical pressures saw previously stable empires decline and power balances change. The world became a more volatile and complex place full of different types of threats and opportunities. It was in this world that the Romans rose. As a startup power faced with a wide variety of challenges, the Romans adopted a different, more versatile model, the legion. Their soldiers were specialized swordsmen, trained for individual close combat in various types of terrain, rather than just to keep in line, face forward, and carry a pike. This provided versatility and resilience needed in the new volatile world. For instance, if hit from the side or rear, the Romans simply turned and fought, whereas the phalanx lost its cohesion and failed. Roman soldiers were organized into scalable, semi-independent 120-man maniples, consisting of 10-man squads. Leaders at all levels were empowered to use their initiative, adapt to circumstances, and be creative, a principle they called rugged simplicity. The maniples deployed in 3-line checkerboard formation to support and relieve each other. This allowed rapid deployment, flexibility, and maneuver to handle unforeseen threats and opportunities. As Roman power grew and expanded, they eventually came into conflict with the descendants of Alexander's Macedonians. This conflict became a test of how their different engagement methods and organizations handled the challenges of the modern world. It was July 197 BC and the Battle of Cynocephalae. What does this have to do with modern business, I hear you crying? Well, as Mark Twain said, history may not repeat, but it sure does echo, and this echoes to me strongly. We also live in increasingly volatile, unpredictable, complex, and ambiguous times. Like the phalanx, the old-style business engagement and organization models designed in more stable, predictable, and well-defined times can no longer handle all the complex world situations we have to face. To survive and thrive in our VUCA and AI world, business thinking and organizations must change from what HBR have called a tin man model, rigid, centralized, authoritarian, and focused on compliance and obedience, to an octopus model, flexible, decentralized thinking, collaborative, and focused on human empowerment and creativity. Such a change can be achieved. The processes and approaches are well proven and straightforward. But experience says that the most important contributor to success is the willingness of an organization to fully adopt a growth mindset. This change in thinking not only enables the initial transformation, but also constantly empowers, adapts, and improves the organization as circumstances change. Trusting and empowering people to work for a purpose with creativity, initiative, and accountability is key to current and future success. Now, just like it was then. So let's turn the clock back to July 197 BCE. As was becoming common, the battle was not a set piece. It came after a surprise encounter in fog on hilly and broken terrain. The nimble Roman legions deployed faster and the whole army was ready, while the Macedonian left was still disorganized and deploying. On the Macedonian right, the Romans attacked uphill frontally towards the fully formed first phalanx. The first phalanx pushed the Romans back, but the flexible Roman maniples maneuvered and adapted to the rough terrain. The rigid phalanx could not adapt, reducing their efficiency, causing a fighting stalemate. On the Macedonian left, the Romans advanced quickly up the hill towards the slowly deploying second phalanx. The much faster Romans hit the second phalanx before it was fully deployed and ready to engage. It was quickly broken and ran. The Romans pursued. Then a single Roman officer saw an opportunity and, on his own initiative, broke off from the pursuit, quickly turned 20 maniples, rapidly crossed the battlefield, and hit the Macedonian first phalanx in the flank and rear. Already engaged frontally, the rigid phalanx could not turn, react, or respond. It broke and was almost completely destroyed in the pursuit. It was a decisive victory for the Romans and their flexible engagement model. They succeeded not just because of the superior flexibility and nimbleness of their engagement model, but also because rugged simplicity empowered the initiative of one man. So, which model illustrates the Tin Man? Which the Octopus approach in a volatile world? The phalanx, like many modern organizations, was not fundamentally inferior, but it was a tin man, born of a more stable world where prescribed processes could be rigidly applied to every situation. The Legion was more an octopus organization, flexible and nimble, with intelligence in each empowered arm, able to creatively address threats and exploit opportunities in its VUCA world. In my opinion, the Roman army's willingness to learn, adapt, and empower in the face of constant change is the key factor that helped Rome succeed and thrive for the next 1600 plus years. It's an echo from history on why institutionalizing a growth mindset is vital for any organization to thrive and survive in our challenging times. I've spent 25 plus years honing practical and pragmatic approaches for developing and growing a success mindset in people. Contact me to discuss how. I'm here to help, and I'm always open to thoughts and opinions. Talk to you soon.